1. Introduction. Stephen King, born September 21st, 1947, is one of the world's most prolific and influential writers of horror, supernatural fiction, suspense, and fantasy. Over a career spanning more than 5 decades, he has published over 60 novels and 200 short stories, many of which have become cultural touchstones both on the page and on screen. This report traces King's life and career, examining his early influences, his rise to fame, his signature style and themes, his forays into other genres, and his lasting impact on contemporary literature and popular culture. 2. Early life and education, 1947 to 1970. Birth and family background: born in Portland, Maine, to Donald and Nellie Ruth Pillsbury King. When he was 2, his father left the family. Stephen and his older brother David were raised by their mother in Durham, Maine. Childhood influences: an avid reader from an early age, King devoured EC Comics, the works of H.P. Lovecraft, Richard Matheson, and Ray Bradbury. He sold his first story, I Was a Teenage Grave Robber, to a fanzine at age 13 for $35. King's childhood home was close to the University of Maine campus, where he later earned a Bachelor of Arts in English in 1970 during college. He wrote plays, poems, and continued submitting stories to magazines. 3. Struggles and breakthrough, 1970 to 1974. Early struggles after graduation. King took a job teaching English at Hampton Academy in Maine, while living in a trailer with his wife, Tabitha, whom he married in 1971, to make ends meet. He took on odd jobs: janitor work, counseling roles, and more while writing in his spare time. Carrie and debut success in 1973, King completed the manuscript for Carrie, a novel about a bullied teenage girl with telekinetic powers. At his wife Tabitha's encouragement, he retrieved the discarded draft from the trash and continued revising. Carrie was published by Doubleday in April 1974 and became an immediate bestseller, selling 13,000 copies in its first year. Its success allowed King to leave teaching and become a full-time writer. 4. The 1970s and 1980s. Prolific output and rising fame: key novels and themes: Salem's Lot, 1975. A modern vampire tale set in small-town America, blending gothic horror with social commentary. The Shining, 1977. A psychological horror story of isolation and madness in the Overlook Hotel. It cemented King's reputation and was famously adapted by filmmaker Stanley Kubrick in 1980, The Stand, 1978. An epic post-apocalyptic novel that explores good versus evil on a grand scale. Short fiction and collections. King published several acclaimed short story collections during this period: Night Shift, 1978, and Skeleton Crew, 1985, showcasing his talent for concise, impactful horror and suspense. Personal challenges: by the mid-1980s, King was coping with heavy workloads, substance abuse, and chronic pain. In 1987, he was struck by a van while walking near his main home. He nearly died and spent months recovering, an experience that informed later works like The Green Mile, 5, the 1990s-2000s, experimentation and expansion pseudonymous writings. In 1987 and 1991, King published The Eyes of the Dragon and The Regulators under the pen name Richard Bachman. Bachman's existence was revealed in 1985, demonstrating King's desire to test whether his success was due to talent or brand. Genre crossovers. Misery, 1987, a tightly wound, psychological thriller that explores fandom and obsession. The Dark Tower series, 1982 to 2004, an ambitious 7-volume saga blending fantasy, Western, horror, and science fiction elements King's magnum opus. Mainstream literary recognition. King's work began to receive serious literary awards: the World Fantasy Award 1982, Bram Stoker Awards from 1987 onward, and the National Book Foundation's Medal for Distinguished Contribution to American Letters 2003. 6. Style, themes, and influences accessible prose. King's writing is characterized by clear, conversational language, richly drawn small-town settings, and relatable characters. He excels at building suspense through pacing, tight scene construction, and vivid imagery. Recurring themes: good versus evil, from supernatural villains to human monsters. King often pits ordinary people against overwhelming malevolence. Childhood and innocence. Many of King's heroes are children or adolescents. For example, It, Stand By Me, emphasizing the power of youthful resilience. Addiction and recovery. King's own battles with substance abuse surface in works like Dr. Sleep, the sequel to The Shining, and The Tomonokers. Influences. Lovecraft's cosmic horror, Poe's gothic atmosphere, and Bradbury's nostalgic sense of place all shine through King's stories, yet he reframes them in modern American contexts. 7. Film, television, and cultural impact. Major adaptations. Carrie, 1976, 2013, The Shining 1980, Stand By Me, 1986, The Shawshank Redemption 1994, Misery 1990, and in 2017 to 2019, are among dozens of film and TV adaptations. The Shawshank Redemption, in particular, has achieved iconic status. King, as a cultural figure, he appears in cameos. For example, Pet Sematary hosts the anthology series Creepshow, and remains active on social media. In 2014, he received the National Medal of Arts from President Obama. Influence on the horror genre. King's commercial success helped legitimize horror as a best-selling literary genre. His mix of domestic realism and supernatural dread set a template for countless writers and filmmakers. 8. Later works and ongoing legacy. 2010-present recent novels. November 22nd, 63-2011, a time travel thriller about preventing. JFK's assassination praise for its historical depth. Dr. Sleep 2013 revisits Danny Torrance from The Shining, blending psychological horror with themes of recovery. The Institute 2019 and later 2021 showcase King's continued ability to explore children's inner lives under supernatural pressure. Mentorship and Nonfiction on Writing 2000, part memoir. Part writing guide widely regarded as one of the best books on the craft. King frequently champions emerging writers, guest lectures, and provides encouragement through essays and interviews. Global reach. With more than 350 million copies sold worldwide. Translations into 50-plus languages. And a generation of authors citing him as an inspiration King's influence remains vast. 9. Conclusion. Stephen King's journey from a struggling young teacher writing in a trailer to a literary icon whose works define modern horror demonstrates the power of storytelling rooted in real human fears. His prolific output, memorable characters, and willingness to experiment across genres have cemented his place in literary history. As he continues to write and publish, King's evolving body of work will undoubtedly influence generations of readers and storytellers to come.